How's all the family doing out there? I'm a little late than my normally scheduled time. Pardon me for that. I had a lot of things I was trying to take care of on the back end, prior to going live. But yeah, I'm here, family, and I hope everyone is having a good weekend, staying safe. Yeah, and making it do what it do. Handling your business. Hope everything is going well for you. And I'm gonna wait till I get a few more people in, here to actually, start talking. Yeah, so. Yeah, family. Thanks for tapping in with me. The few people I got a few people in here. I might as well get into it. Thanks for rocking with me, family, and tapping in with me. Hope y'all having a good weekend. And yeah, we gonna get right into it, family. I don't like to waste no time and and things like that. So we gonna get right into it. Yeah, family. I was seeing on IG, up and down my timeline on Instagram, these white supremacist bigots, trying to run up on FBA brothers all willy nilly. And there was a couple videos I really wanted to talk on, but there was music in the background, so I couldn't risk being getting copyright strikes for it. So I didn't, touch on them. But I got one, and a couple that came to mind. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the one I wanted to talk about, it had music on it, but there was like on a football field or something like that. White supremacists ran up on the brother, jumped in the brother's face, and was talking a bunch of nonsense. And the FBA brother, put the beats on him, from the get go, start tapping him up, tagging him up. This white supremacist ran like he was running a marathon, you know what I mean? Running track and field. He took off, you know what I mean? You wasn't catching that white supremacist, you know what I mean? But yeah, he learned a lesson though. You don't mess with FBA brothers, you know what I mean? Or your ass is going to be taxed quick, fast, and in a hurry. Now, this video I do that I do got the video for. It don't got no music on it or nothing like that, but it appeared to be a FBA brother. You know what I mean? He was in a restaurant or a bar or something like that, some kind of establishment. And it appeared to be a bar though, and the white supremacist got all up in this older FBA brother's face. He tried to warn him. You know what I mean? He tried to make him take the high road, and downplay it, give him a pass. But this white supremacist, kept on pushing the envelope, how they typically do. He learned a lesson, which is in the form of a good old fashioned FBA ass whooping, family. So I got the audio and the video of this, and we're gonna talk about it. But yeah, I love seeing white supremacists get their rear ends handed to them. You know what I mean? Especially trying to come at black folks all willy nilly. You know.
Kim, both of you, Kim, Richie. Richie. Count of three. Richie.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
He should have heeded that brother's lesson. When he said he gonna give him to the count of three, he mean he ain't bullshitting, he ain't playing around, he getting ready to tax his ass. You know what I mean? But in typical white supremacist fashion, they want to keep pushing the envelope.
3, 4, 5, 6. What are you gonna do?
Oh shit!
I told you to get up.
He went to sleep.
Slept that white supremacist. You see him down there, he can't get up now. You know what I mean?
I told you to get off me. Did you not hear me say get the fuck?
He should have heeded the lesson. He should have heeded his words. An old school FBA brother, or any FBA brother for that matter, tell you got about 3 seconds. That means your ass better, take the high road, especially when it's directed toward the white supremacist,
Off me. Okay.
Yeah, that white supremacist got exactly what he deserves. Because the thing about white supremacists, they think that they could run up on, people all willy nilly and, do anything to black folks. You know what I mean? Because they know they got a whole system of racism, white supremacy to protect and that protects and backs them. And more often than not, when these white supremacists, run up on brothers and, black folks, and when you put them hands on them, they try to play the victim, to get the protection of the white supremacist establishment, to back them, so damn that, you know what I mean? This brother, showed him, who was really the boss and laid his white supremacist behind out, and that's what he gets, if you ask me. But moving right along. What else did I want to touch on? Thanks to the family, salute and peace to everyone that's rocking out with me and tapping in with me, family. And I hope everyone is having a good weekend out there. But what's the next thing I wanted to touch on? Yeah, family, we gotta watch these Latinos, because a lot of these Latinos be white supremacists as well. Some of these Latinos be some of the biggest anti-black racists there are on the planet, right along with the white supremacists. And I always point this out, there ain't no black and brown unity or none of that nonsense. You know what I mean? And side note, I just watched Brother Tariq's podcast, and he touched on it where though these damn Plies, who's a Democratic shield, he, made some comments to the effect of, you know, are Latinos on code with us and in alignment with us? And, I could have told Ply that hell to the no, when have they been? You know what I mean? But Plies is doing this from a Democratic Shield standpoint, you know what I mean? Because we ain't nowhere ain't no way in hell Latinos have ever been down with us. You know what I mean? I lost my train of thought. But ain't nowhere in hell have Latinos been down with us. You know what I mean? They'll take, getting on code with the white supremacists before us. You know what I mean? And a lot of these Latinos, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, all of them, they hold anti-black views on things. You know what I mean? And they rather get down with the white supremacist society. You know what I mean? And they fought to actually be, classified as white. You know what I mean? But I got, the audio and the video where this anti-black Mexican is saying something where he's better than, Mexicans are better than black folks, and damn that, no the hell they ain't. And he's saying, he could say the N-word, because he got a pass, this, that, and the other. And I wish a Latino or a white person to use that N-word around me. I'm going to knock them the hell out. I'm going to clean their ass up quick, fast, and in a hurry. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I mean? Because Latinos, they like to, try to pull black when it's convenient, but they don't rock with black society like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes they might try to play that black, like Fat Ho tried to do with the whole hip hop thing, like we all black, you know what I mean? Trying to use that Pan-Africanism thing of them having some Africanness, to leech on to, foundational Black American blackness. And damn that, this is why I'm glad we delineated, because it stopped a lot of this nonsense to where, though, now when people say they black, they can't get out here and just say that. We want to know where your family's from, this, that, and the third. But I got the audio and the video, like I said, of this anti-black Mexican, saying he could use the N-word, this, that, and the third, and that Mexicans are better than us black folks. And damn that. You know what I mean?
How you feel about Mexicans whenever they say the word low key? I think, it's valid. Why do you think that is valid for Mexicans?
He said low key, they can them using the N-word as Mexicans is valid. You hear that, family?
To say,
I know. We're the same, we're family, bro.
No, the hell we ain't, fam. We never been clicked in with these people, you know what I mean? And I'm glad we woke up and stopped, pushing that whole black and brown thing, because that was a false narrative to ensure that we never really get nowhere as foundational Black Americans. We do all the fighting and absorb all of the abuse, you know what I mean? And these people get to sit back and twiddle their thumbs, and damn that. These people hold anti-black views on things. They hate our people. They work in opposition towards our people. You know what I mean? And there never been no black and brown unity.
You think that we're the same as black folks?
Nah, I think we're better.
Whoa, shoot.
He said he's better than black folks. Damn that. Got a hell of a nerve.
Why you say we're better?
Because we are, bro.
Wait, why though? You gotta elaborate a little bit, just a little bit.
Because, bro, we're Mexicans, bro.
Okay.
We're the shit, bro. Are we not?
And Mexicans ain't nothing but some damn fleers, cosplayers, and people trying to tether on to our foundational Black American lineage as well. These people don't stand on no business, when they get confronted with the system of racism, white supremacy, they bow down to it. And a lot of these Latinos, I put out a video a little bit ago where they click up with white supremacist groups, especially in the prison system. But, in general, they'll click up with white supremacists all day, every day before, black folks. So damn that, you know what I mean? And, Plies, made them foolish statements, as Latinos on code with us or white folks, when have they ever been on code with us in alignment with us? Plies is a Democratic shield, put out here to, say these talking points, that came out of some damn think tank, So I ain't surprised by his comments, though, but there ain't never been no black and brown unity. But moving right along, family. I just wanted to show y'all the nerve of that racist Mexican, saying he got a pass to say the N-word. I wish the hell a Mexican or a YT person would, say the N-word on my watch. They gonna, get a mouthful of teeth knocked out. But moving right along. Yeah, I came across something, family, on peace to the chat. Peace to my sister Donna. Peace to We the People. And peace to Cal Cash. Peace to the family, and thanks for tapping in with me, family, and rocking with me. What else did I want to touch on? I came across something on Instagram, family, where a Jamaican said when he was growing up, and his tether parents who came over here off of our foundational Black American ancestors, fighting for, civil rights and injustice and oppression on every front. His damn parents
tell you not.
who ain't nothing but some fleers, told him to stay away from foundational black Americans, and damn that, because these people got a hell of a nerve. They come over here, off of our ancestors' hard work and knocking the doors of racism, white supremacy, and injustice down. Then they got the nerve to, tell their kids to stay away from foundational black Americans, or don't be like those Yanks. And they got all these derogatory terms for us, as foundational black Americans. But foundational black Americans never in a million years tell any of their kids, a foundational black American parent to don't go around those Africans or Caribbeans, stay away from them, don't be like them, and yeah, we got the term tether, but tether ain't to describe, all people. Tether is an action word, you know what I mean? For, people trying to undermine us, tether onto us and get in political office, after they get in there off of what our ancestors did to say we don't deserve no reparations, this, that, and the other. So tether is an action word. Yeah, we got that, but we don't got no derogatory terms to describe all people, how these damn foreign fleeing tethers try to throw us all into one basket. So yeah, family, let's get into it. Fair use.
To be like black Americans.
Yep.
And what was your response?
My response was every fucking day. Every day.
Wow.
It just in the house, you were just, if you do anything, you act like Yankee them. You act like the American people them. Okay. All right.
And this is a great example of why we delineate, family. They got all these negative and derogatory terms for us, you know what I mean? And we paved the way for they narrow, musty asses to get over here in the first place. They should be kissing the ground foundational black Americans walk on, you know what I mean? And, this is a perfect example of why we delineate and why delineation is necessary, you know what I mean? Because these people don't give a damn about our people. They come over here, stick to their own little groups and enclaves and work to, stagnate any positive strides we trying to bring in the FBA society. They get in political office, undermine reparations, this, that, and the other. They just do a bunch of nonsense.
You know what? We need to send you back to Jamaica to remind you who you are. Every day.
What? Parents.
Well, you should have kept your narrow, musty ass in Jamaica. You know what I mean? These tethers really kill me. They come up over here and, they want to take up, opposition to foundational black Americans and try to stagnate us. And, a lot of these tethers is, getting on line and calling for threats and harm be done to foundational black Americans. Damn that. You know what I mean? If people want to try to shame us for delineating and standing on lineage business, yeah, damn that. You know what I mean? We doing the right thing by delineating and calling tethers out because, delineating and, designating our lineage is self-preservation and protection. You know what I mean? It's insulation to where though, we ain't getting infiltrated by these damn foreign fleeing tethers who ain't got our best needs and interests in mind. Shout out to the sister Vera Sanders. And shout out to my sister Black Love, 17. Yeah, but moving right along, family, I just wanted to bring that to the family's attention because we don't hold this kind of mindset to where, though, we'll label all, Jamaicans as being this, that, and the other, or all African people as being this, that, and the other. We call out the tethers, yeah, but tether is an action word. These damn, people held negative views for us for the longest, and it's just now we said enough is enough and we holding folks accountable. And that's why folks, was crying, running around here, frustrated and disgruntled because they can't get away with what they got away with in yesteryears. We holding their asses accountable, you know what I mean? But moving right along. Hold on, family, bear with me. Yeah, I ain't gonna be on here too long, family, today, but yeah, I seen something disturbing on this podcast of it's called and Brother Tariq already talked about this 154 Africa, where they got some Nigerian tether who's an ex-football player. He's sitting up there, saying he don't like the term foundational black Americans. And Godfrey, Godfrey's a tether too, in my book and opinion. He had a video before to where though he's sitting in a car, and speaking some negative things towards FBA lineage. And, he's also, with Godfrey, you know what I mean? He's an op, but he tried to do it in the subtlest ways, you know what I mean? Because on this podcast, he was like, I grew up over here in America. I went to HBCUs, and he's using that to try to say as if he's foundational black American. Just because you grew up over here your people might have been involved in the community. That don't make you a foundational Black American. You foundational Black American by lineage. We got blood, sweat, and tears in the soil. We built something, and he comes from a lineage of fleers. You know what I mean? So yeah, and he said some things. We gonna get into the video here in a few, but he said some things I didn't like. As far as this podcast goes, Godfrey. So let me pull up the clips on this, family. Bear with me. And that Nigerian tether who was an ex-football player. Just a second, family. Hold on, I don't see it. Let me do this. Here we go. That should do it. Come here.
I'm gonna talk about this because there's this term that I know people are not gonna like this, but I don't like the term.
Okay, family, like I said, this is the podcast 154 Africa, and you got this damn Tether saying he don't like the term foundational Black Americans. First of all, you damn Tether, we give a damn if you like the term foundational Black Americans or not. You got your lineage, and you a Nigerian, so why ain't it okay for us to have our unique lineage and history as foundational Black Americans? These people got a hell of a nerve, sitting over here in America saying they don't like the term foundational Black American when our ancestors paved the way for your narrow, musty asses to come over here to begin with. But let's get into it, family. Fair use.
I'm gonna talk about this because there's this term that I know people are not gonna like this, but I don't like the term FBA because I think it is the most separatist term coined back in 2019 by.
And a lineage is supposed to be separatist. You know what I mean? Everybody got a unique lineage. Puerto Ricans, Jamaicans, Ghanaian, whatever you are, Haitian, you got your own lineage. Why is our lineage supposed to be, some borderless lineage? That's because people want to come in and be able to infiltrate and extract, the great things we did, because we did a lot of fly things and continue to do fly things as foundational Black Americans. They want us to be easily, accessible to be exploited, and damn that.
Tariq Nasheed, I know Tariq. And Tariq Nasheed coined this term, and maybe he had.
And our lineage been around, Tariq Nasheed just, put a name to something that already been. We never was no generic Africans. We got a unique culture, history, and legacy that was forged over here on American soil. Most of what you see good in America is that way because foundational Black Americans worked to make it so. He just codified the lineage. And that's why I give props and respect to Tariq Nasheed, because Dr. Claude Anderson had been trying to tell us, to wake up and delineate, for years, but it wasn't until Brother Tariq, got the ball and ran with it that, folks is really starting to get, delineation, representing your lineage. You ain't some generic Africans and things like that. So he put it more mainstream out there. But, folks have always been telling us to delineate. It's just, Tariq Nasheed came with a airtight term, a clarifier, you know what I mean? And you foundational Black American by logic, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't give a damn whether this tether likes our lineage or not, us designating it as foundational Black Americans.
Had good intent because it's like, hey, how do we separate when it comes to reparations and being able to say, hey, this belonged to the Black slaves that came to.
And us designating our lineage ain't about just separating for reparations. Yeah, that's one component. Yeah, we're going to get reparations because we laser focused on it. But that's one component of it. But us designating our lineage, that's, to ensure that our contributions and inventions and all the things we done that's fly over here on American soil don't get erased and chalked up in the air to some global blackness to where everybody can take, credit and thanks for our achievements and success.
To America and their descendants. And I get that. I get and understand that concept. But what it does, it furthers this idea of separation. Yeah. And
every time we trying to, just represent our lineage is separation. But when folks get up there and win an award or, do something, the first thing they do is start waving a foreign flag. You know what I mean? So damn that. It's only division when foundational Black Americans do it. And this is because, these are tethers, put out here to, try to spew a one-sided talking point. You know what I mean? And damn, now we give a damn if it's divisive or not. If us representing our lineage, if you want to say it's divisive, let it be divisive then. But I for sure as hell ain't gonna stop representing my lineage.
I think back again to childhood and the stuff that even as an adult, like I'm not African, I'm anything but African, right? I got Indian in my blood, I'm Creole,
and a lot of foundational Black Americans do have that stuff in the bloodline, in our lineage as well. We're not some generic Africans, continental Africans.
I'm anything but African.
And I was looking it up too, family. Foundational Black Americans, like, as far as health problems and things like that, we got like genetic markers and stuff that's different from continental Africans. I didn't go too far into it. I need to do some more research on that. But as far as health problems and stuff, we got things as foundational Black Americans that don't even get in large part. That shows you that it's a difference in people. We're not them and they're not us, and that's okay. Representing your lineage ain't got to be something that's divisive.
So when you say foundationally Black American, it's like, yes, I can say I'm foundationally Black American, and I am not you. I'm like, no, because like my father used to tell me, I don't know what all this fuss is about. They are the same people. You guys.
We ain't no continental African. They come from a lineage of fleers that, sold some of our people that got lineage to Africa, you know what I mean? And they never stood on no business. We as foundational Black Americans, we the rider class, we get things moving and shaking, you know what I mean?
Oh, brothers. Yeah. And they're like, my dad said, y'all, bro, man, we ain't your brother. We ain't African booty scratchers. No, but we look alike. No. Yeah. All right, man.
They always use that term, that talking point. Well, I was called an African booty scratcher. Foundational Black Americans, they roast anybody. I got roasted by other foundational Black Americans. You know what I mean? That's just to, sharpen up your sword so you be able to, stand on business and, won't be offended when you come into contact with racism, white supremacy, which you are going to inevitably, and unfortunately, if you Black.
All right, cool. Well, this I'm still working on Hidden Color 6.
Yeah, family. But I just wanted to show that to the family. Yeah, because that got me a little bit, hot right there. These damn Tethers saying, who the hell is he to say that he don't like us representing our foundational Black American lineage, and being over here on American soil saying that nonsense. But moving right along, let me get on this Tether Godfrey, because make no mistake about it, Godfrey is a damn Tether. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna expose him. He said some things I didn't particularly like. And we're gonna get into it, family. And Godfrey, tried to give a little bit of props and respect to the lineage, but he sneak disses a lot because he's too afraid to just come out and say that he don't rock with our lineage. You know what I mean? Because Godfrey tried to, make this claim to where though, he grew up over here and he went to HBCU. So yeah, he had the Black American experience, this, that, and the other. And that don't make you foundational Black American because you went to some HBCU, your people was involved in the community. Foundational Black American, you got to be that by birthright. We got blood, sweat, and tears in the soil. We built up equity over here, to where though everybody was, able to come over here, off of what the hard work and, things that our ancestors built. You know what I mean? But let's get into it, family. Fair use.
I know where you're going. Yeah, right. Yeah, because as much as I defend Black Americans, I get stuff where they'll go, "You're not Black American. You African." Right. And I go, "Eat a dick."
And there's nothing wrong with saying that you're not Black American, you're African, because you are African. Godfrey, and I don't see what the problem is.
That's what I do, because I'm like, what are you talking about? I grew up in Chicago. Yeah. That's a very Black city. Mm-hmm. Chicago's history of Black Americans is heavy. Jack and Jill, you got the Chicago Defender, a lot of stuff.
And it don't matter where you grew up in, if you ain't a foundational Black American, your family's immigrants, you're Nigerian, bro. You from over there. You ain't a foundational Black American. Your people came here to something that was already built,
Stuff started in Chicago. The Obamas. The Obamas.
And during this whole interview, they was, talking about the Obama, being the first black president. Obama was a damn, cosplaying tether, who never was about foundational black American society. He sat up there and prioritized, rainbow gang rights, LGBT, police. He gave police, more insulation and protection. Meanwhile, foundational black Americans were getting cut down in the street left and right, So bringing up Obama ain't no flex,
Minister Farrakhan, he's like Nation of Islam. There's so much just so much in Chicago. And my father was an an educator for 45 years at Malcolm X College. You know what I mean?
That's pretty black.
Yeah. Taught on the west side of Chicago.
Right.
Yeah. My father had adult education.
Godfrey thinks just because he went to an HBCU and his father might have been active in the community, this, that, and the other, that he's foundational black American or something like that. And that don't make you foundational black American.
Education programs for gangster disciples, Blackstone Rangers, and vice lords. Gangbangers knew my dad. You don't get no... and, cats be like, yeah, your dad taught me how to read, dog. For real, we got your pops. I mean,
But the most telling part of this whole little talking, little interview that they had ain't even come up yet, family. The part I really want to, hone in on and, talk about.
My mother was a nurse, an OB-GYN nurse who delivered so many people's babies. My mother was known in Chicago. So our blackness was mended with black Americans. Most of my friends were black Americans. And of course, there were immigrants.
That still don't make you a foundational black American. You could have, you could say you grew up this, that, and the other. You have friends, but that still don't change your lineage, bro. You a damn fleeing tether, who came to an infrastructure that was already built.
And the area I lived in Chicago was the most integrated area in Chicago, because Chicago's the most segregated city till this day, and Milwaukee is second, which is not that far from Chicago. Yeah. So I was in both worlds, like you said, getting made fun of. They used to make fun of me all the time, and I remember this girl named Lois, and
they keep on pushing that narrative that they were made fun of. Foundational black Americans make fun of other foundational black Americans. Get over it.
I will never forget her. I saw her not too long ago. I hadn't seen her in like 30 years. I remember I was mad about something. I was, 11, 12?
Listen to this part, family. This is the telling part that I want to hone in on and break down.
And this girl, Lois, she was heavyset at the time. And I remember she was treading water. We were at a swimming pool. And she goes, what's wrong, Godfrey? I said, yeah, they keep making fun of me being African. And she goes, and I will never forget, she goes, well, at least their ancestors weren't slaves. See, at least you have something to connect to. They don't. It's coming. And I go, wow, that's the truth.
You see, that's his mindset right there. He thinks that our ancestors were just slaves. He looked down upon our people. Godfrey ain't nothing but a foreign fleeing damn tether in my book. You know what I mean? And we got a connection to the soil over here in America, more so than everybody. You know what I mean? We ain't some generic Africans. We established, many of the positive things that goes on in America came from foundational black American brothers and sisters' hands. You know what I mean? So yeah, we got a connection. We connected, and rooted over here on American soil. We ain't some damn generic Africans. This is what this is what Pan-Africanism as a whole seeks to do, make us seem like we're some generic lost Africans, and that ain't the case. We got a long history and legacy, of resistance, fighting injustice and oppression, creation and innovation, creating, all of the things for the most part that people even use in their house over here on American soil. We created the toilet, this, that, and the other, Godfrey is just trying to minimize that, you know what I mean? And say like, he looks at our people as slaves, truth be told. He even said it. He even tried to dignify that, you know what I mean? And I don't even believe that happened to him. I believe that's how he feels, that we ain't got no connection, that we were just slaves, this, that, and the other. He's a damn tether in my book, you know what I mean? And he gets no pass no more. I a little bit used to rock with Godfrey, but now I just see right through him. He's mad, he's disgruntled that he ain't got access to the lineage no more and all of the fly things that we done over here on American soil. So he want to try to hate and, push these false narratives. You know what I mean? Our people ain't our people ain't gonna be minimized and reduced to no damn slaves. This is how he looks at it in his mind. That's his narrative, looking down upon our people, and that's how a lot of them damn tethers do. They come over here and look down upon our people, want to call us slaves, this, that, and the other, because that's a normal talking point that comes from these African tethers, is that your people were slaves, this, that, and the other. Well, you know, if our people, you know, are you want to minimize our people to slave, you know, your people is fleers. Why can't you get the continent of Africa together? You know, you got all that damn tribalism over there. People can't come on code with one another. And if you ask me, you know, my stance on it is Africa, you know, was complicit in its own colonization because Africa wasn't on code. You know, they were selling our foundational Black American ancestors, you know, having all these tribal beefs to where though it left themselves open to be exploited by the white supremacists. You know, they signed deals with the white supremacists. And we in foundational Black American society, we always was the pushback and resistance to white supremacist society. That's why they got to get all these damn buffers like Godfrey and all of them, you know, tethered to get over here in the paint to try to, stop this momentum that we making as foundational Black Americans, giving all this pushback and resistance, you know?
Because that's coming from trauma. That's coming from insecurity. Yeah, and but you don't understand that as a 12-year-old. You're just like, they're just making fun of most 40-year-olds.
Yeah, fam, I just wanted to bring that to the family's attention, you know, that you know, these damn Africans ain't no better than us, you know, and that's how Godfrey feels that our people wasn't nothing but slaves, you know, but his people ain't nothing but fleers. You know, our people, you know, built the landscape up over here in America for these damn foreign fleeing tethers to have a lane to come to, you know, and like I said, Africa was complicit in its own, you know, colonization. They was off code. You know, Dr. Claude Anderson said they was doing a number of things wrong, you know, when they, you know, conquered other Black folks over there on the continent. You know, they was, you know, white folks come over there, they try to show off and put on for the white folks, you know, yeah, come over here, man. You know, I'm gonna sell you this, and while I'm at it, you know, I got some slaves in the back right here. You know, I got some Black slaves in the back right here. Why don't you buy them off me too? You know, so they was just off code. They was complicit in their own colonization because they had so many damn tribal beasts, and they, you know, sold our FBA ancestors. You know, so yeah, they come from a lineage of that. We come from a lineage of riders, you know, rebellion, revolt, you know, and building up infrastructure, you know, continuity and creating all of the fly things that's over here in America. So yeah, damn Godfrey, I'm writing him off as a tether, you know, and I'm gonna keep my foot on the neck of him as well. You know, anything that he does from here on out, I'm gonna call him out because I think he's a tether, you know. But moving right along. Shout out to my sister Tawanda. Shout out to Big Hair, who says they still selling their people over there in Africa. Yeah, you know, that's the mindset of foreign fleeing tethers. But moving right along. Yeah, family. I want to speak about this app, Blue Pill, you know, and Blue Pill, you know, we clicked in with Sinetta TV, who is a known op, and they're also clicked in with Earn Your Leisure, 19 Keys, and you know this is why I really wanted to put out this live stream. You know what I mean? Because shout out to the brother Black Star TV too, another foundational Black American content creator who be standing on a lot of truth to power in FBA business. He brought it to the light, so you know, yeah, shout out to him. And if you ain't, go subscribe to that his channel too, Black Star TV. You know, so he brought this to my attention, and you know, I went down the rabbit hole with it and started doing my little own homework and due diligence and research. Yeah, but you know, Blue Pill been coming at he's a tether too, a Jamaican tether. He been coming at our FBA lineage wrong and sideways, you know, as well. You know, see, the problem is we as FBAs, we delineated, and people got a problem with that because that stopped the whole Pan Africanism gravy train. You know, they money drying up and slowing down because we pushing this lineage based momentum forward. So a lot of people don't like that, you know, and a lot of people be undercover ops as well. We got to keep our eyes on that aspect. Yeah, but Blue Pill was he was in the comments of that, you know, that damn DNC shill, Deontay Cal, trying to dignify when he was coming at our FBA lineage wrong and sideways as well. You know, so yeah, he's a foreign fleeing tether, you know, this Blue Pill, and he says something to the effect of, he made in a post, brother Black Star TV put it out. He says something to the effect of, yeah, them FBAs are MAGA, this, that, and the other. And that's a DSC talking point, you know, that we typically hear that FBAs are MAGA. You know, FBAs are just, you know, is a lineage, you know what I mean? And inside that lineage, it's going to be many different, you know, things you subscribe to, you know, Democrats, Republican, Christian, Muslim, you know, that still don't change your lineage, you know. That's just op talking point, that they want to put out here to try to dissipate this FBA energy. But nothing they could do, nothing they could pull out. People are crying, crashing out on the internet, left and right. Nothing they could do was going to stop this lineage-based freight train from coming through. We ain't slowing down for anyone or anybody, so they better move or get out the way, because either way, this FBA train coming through, So yeah, and the Tether Blue Pill, who's a Jamaican Tether, he's also clicked in with 19 Keys. And I always thought 19 Keys was cool, but I could never really watch 19 Keys and Blue Pill like that, because they babble too much, if you ask me. They put out a bunch of, stuff in their messaging that's like, they try to use big words to sound, more smarter than what they are, but they just, be babbling, if you ask me. Just get to the point, get down to the nitty gritty. You know what I mean? So yeah, come to find out, they're all clicked in. Like I said, Earn Your Leisure and Earn Your Leisure, 19 Keys, Blue Pill, and Sinetta TV. They all clicked in with one another, and 19 Keys is an op too. He was saying some oppy things, and I don't think he rocks with the delineation movement neither, us designating our FBA lineage. I think he got a problem with it because he's trying to push some, we all need to be unified, this, that, and the other, and we need to be going over to Africa doing global trade. No, the hell we don't need to be going over to Africa doing trade. Why is everything contingent upon us FBAs going over there and helping them out? When is the last time these damn foreign fleeing tethers ever did anything for FBA society? When we was over here and our ancestors was in slavery and bondage, we had to fight with resistance to get our asses up out of that. Ain't no damn Africans was coming over here to save us. So damn that. They got to do what they got to do over there on the continent, hold their own nuts. As far as me and I'm concerned, I'm only worried about FBA society. I wish everybody well, but we got to get on code. We are getting on code, and I love to see it. But we got to do business with our own people and put resources in our own community. We ain't got time to be focused and worried about things outside of our community. And for people that never gave a damn about us, you know what I mean? Get in political office and say we don't need no reparations, this, that, and the other. Yeah, but I'm gonna get into it, family. Yeah, let me pull this video up on 19 Keys, who's an op, and we're gonna walk through and talk about it how we normally do. But I don't rock with 19 Keys. No, I didn't never really rock with him, but I used to listen to him here and there, but I could never really stand too much of them because they put too much filters on things they say to try to make themselves seem more than what they are. But let's get into it, family. Fair use.
And I rock with some of the foundation of Black American movement. But you
came in there wrong from the get-go. You rock with some of the foundational Black American movement. And that's a typical talking point that he's putting out there, 19 Keys. And, I rock with Brother Tariq Nasheed. So hopefully, he be mindful with this guy that, he ain't what he seems to be, because I think he's in the new Hidden Colors movie, So, yeah, I believe he's a op. But let's continue.
You gotta understand, and this is what you all are missing, because y'all act like y'all got a problem with Africans, and this is crazy.
We don't act like we got a problem with nobody, These Africans come over here with a lot of anti-FBA views on things, and we just getting some straightening done. We can't go over to their homeland and get in political office and undermine their people, say they don't need no reparations, and work in opposition to them. They'll stone us to death. You know what I mean? But let's continue.
Right? Y'all act like that's your enemy, and it's not.
And 19 Keys is clicked in with Earn Your Leisure, and Earn Your Leisure don't stand for reparations. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later in the broadcast.
At all. It's only a distraction. It's the way the devil wants you to move. It's not at all.
So Tethers, ain't our opposition. You know what I mean? Yeah, the hell they are. He said, that's something that the devil put out there. So the white man just made them, come over here and, get on the internet and, call for threats and harm to be done for foundational Black Americans, and say that we don't need no reparations, call us ladies, Akatas. I guess the white man made them, do all of that. And, them days is gone where we, let them off the hook, saying, oh, well, they just was told that from the white man. Them days is gone. You know what I mean? We holding the white supremacists accountable and the tether class. Nobody gets any passes no more. Foundational Black Americans are standing on lineage business, and that's what the hell it is from here on out.
Because what you also gonna miss out is the opportunity to do business, right? It's a very simple, logical thing. All of the resources are in Africa.
And if all of the resources are in Africa, why the hell ain't the Tethers coming, staying over there, and getting the resources? That's their homeland. Work to make it better, get the resources, and lift your country up. It shouldn't be contingent upon whether FBAs is going over there or not. We got our own stuff to focus on. We want to build up our communities. We want to build businesses and put FBA brothers and sisters in there to where though we could look out for the lineage first and foremost.
They're not in America. You can think about your ego can take you wherever you want to. Your ego is not the resource to build a nation. Your ego is not the resource that's going to change reality. No, you actually need resources and you need allies from all across.
We don't need no damn allies. Foundational Black Americans, when our lineage is on cold, we can get things done more so than having 1,000,000 allies. Ain't no sense of having allies if you just carrying around dead weight. You know what I mean? That's like you trying to put out work for yourself and someone else's work. It's gonna make your work harder because you got to carry their workload as well. So damn that. We don't need no allies. Foundational Black Americans is all we got, all we need. When we was going through slavery, injustice, and oppression, no one came to help us out. So we don't, need any of these other groups. You know what I mean? And it's by far time we look out for our own lineage and things like that first and foremost. So where though they want to, we ain't gonna be pulled in 100 different directions to where though we stop working to the in best interest of the things we need to get done. Damn that. We done that, looked out for other people to our own detriment for far too long. Right now is the time we worried about FBA society and looking out for our own people first and foremost.
So speak for yourself when you want to make enemies with your very allies that you actually need.
And 19 Keys sound like these Pan-Africans, who typically, try to say that FBAs is doing this, that, and the other. FBAs is coming at the good old Africans, leave the good old Africans alone. What about all of these damn people, this is what they not talking about, guys like 19 Keys, who's a op, and these damn scam Africans running around here saying, oh, leave the good old Africans alone. These Africans are coming over here, the damn tether class who are doing this to our homeland, trying to work in opposition to us, undermine us, getting on the internet calling for threats to be done to foundational Black Americans. We can't do nothing with that. Them people got to hold their own nuts, and they always, want to take up for, the tether class, and try to put all the stuff on us like we doing it all. We can't go to nobody else's homeland, and work in opposition to them, get in political office and say what they need and what they don't need. Then people will stone us to death. Damn that.
Because all of the resources are in Africa. That's why every nation and
again, if all of the resources in Africa, why the hell ain't the damn tether class staying over there and getting them resources and building up their homelands? Why they coming over here? You know what I mean?
Every country goes to Africa. Nobody got a problem with you. Nobody thinking of.
And I think 19 Keys got some dealings over there in Africa because I see some videos. So he got some business over there in Africa, and this delineation movement. That's what it's really about. Is putting a whole monkey wrench in his game. That bread is drying up for him.
About you, I'm gonna be honest with you. Nobody's thinking about you.
Nobody's thinking about us, our ass. Every time I turn around and look on the internet, you got a damn tether coming out the side of their neck, talking bad about FBA society. And damn that, you know what I mean? We ain't gonna let our foot up off the gas pedal of calling out anybody with any disrespect, be it white supremacists, the Tethers, whoever the hell's coming out our lineage. That's whoever the hell we gonna go at, full throttle. We ain't letting our foot up off the gas pedal.
Your ego is too big to think that people are out here thinking about you all day. Nobody cares. What I just broke down with.
I can't tell. You got people like that woman who said she'll strap a bomb to her and do some unaliving of FBAs. You got that one nurse who was calling for harm being done to FBAs. Damn now. We got to call this stuff out. We got to keep on delineating and, calling the Tethers and the white supremacists out. Because the Tethers are used as buffers in a system of racism, white supremacy, to be the black face of white supremacy, to get out here and say and spew the things that the white supremacists want to say, but really can't do it. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to expose their racist hand. They don't want to expose that all the way. So they got to get a black buffer, and they like to go after them Tethers to do that.
Was the reason why they may be misrepresented on what the actual culture is, but that's not your fault or their fault. It's the industry.
We keep saying it's it's the white man's fault. It's the devil's fault that made the Tethers do it. And we used to let that stuff slide and say, we used to say that thing in yesteryear that it was the white supremacists' fault, but we got off that kick. We holding the white supremacists and the tether class, accountable, and ain't nothing anyone or anybody could do about it. We ain't gonna stop calling out tethers. Just because you got some damn melanin in your skin don't mean you could come over here and undermine my people, get in political office and do a bunch of nonsense.
I rock with some of the found.
Yeah, family, but let's stay on this kick of this op, 19 keys. It's the kicker right here, family, in this video. Let me pull it up. This will really open my eyes, this video, because I went down a rabbit hole, with all of this stuff, with doing my homework and due diligence. Yeah, so, yeah, this is what really opened my eyes right here, that 19 keys is a straight up op. Let me find the video. Here we go. Bear with me, family. And ain't no diaspora war. What it is that we foundational Black Americans is getting some straightening done with the tether class after years of unchecked disrespect. We let this stuff go on far too long because people had melanin in their skin. We was giving them a pass. Damn that. Now the tether class and the white supremacists, anybody can get it. You know what I mean? But let's get into it, family. Here's where 19 Keys is talking on the whole diaspora war with this other clown, on his podcast, and 19 Keys is clicked in. We're gonna get to that a little bit later in the broadcast, but he's clicked in with Earn Your Leisure. He got a show on there called High Level Conversations, and Earn Your Leisure is against lineage-based reparations. They got a bunch of ops on there saying that lineage-based reparations ain't fathomable, and a whole bunch of nonsense when it comes to us getting our just due. But yeah, let's get into it. Fair use. Listen to this, family. This is the icing on the cake. This video really let me know that 19 Keys is an op. Fair use.
Yeah, but before I was rudely interrupted,
I wasn't so rude.
I want to talk about the diaspora wars that's been going on. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, I feel like it's just another distraction to keep us from building. To keep us from coming together and building.
It's another distraction to keep us from building and coming together. That's a false narrative. We never had nothing together. These people come over here, the tether class, set up their own little businesses and enclaves and look down upon FBA brothers and sisters. And damn that, you can't be it's not no divisiveness and nothing to keep us divided when we had nothing that was, going on with one another to begin with. But let's continue.
At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I want to know what's your thoughts on it, because it's been flooding my time now.
There's a lot. So the diaspora wars, to me, there's some validity in it, only in the sense that everybody's right.
Everybody ain't right. The damn tether class ain't right for coming over here to somebody else's own homeland, looking down upon our people, getting in political office, saying a bunch of what we don't need in terms of reparations, this, that, and the other. Damn that,
And
we FBAs are justified in calling the damn tether class out, because like I said, if we was going to somebody else's homeland over there in Africa, the Caribbean, they'd stone our people to death if we was working in opposition to the best interests of the people over there.
You're right, and there's a degree of being wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So essentially, a lot of this is centered around foundational Black Americans. That is a lineage-based group who
to keep putting out that narrative. That's a same commonality we see in all of these 19 Keys videos, family. Notice how he's trying to frame the conversation about FBA lineage to be a group, and that's a false narrative. You know what I mean? He's some kind of ops. You know what I mean? And that's Fed talk what 19 Keys is doing. Truth be told,
who does act like an organization or a movement with a.
We don't act like no organization or a movement. No, the hell we don't. We're a lineage with different ideologies and different things people subscribe to in that. A lineage is your lineage. Either you're born FBA or you're not. You got Democrat FBAs, Republicans, Christian, Muslims, whatever.
center head, which would be Tariq Nasheed. Now, he says that he is not the head of it. It's a
Now he's trying to frame Brother Tariq Nasheed to be the leader of FBA, and I hope Brother Tariq Nasheed just, stays safe, because I know he in Hidden Color, the new Hidden Colors movie, and he's clearly an op, you know what I mean? Be careful with this clown, you know what I mean? Because he's trying to frame him as being some kind of leader. Listen, family.
lineage, right? And we are not a group, but he definitely acts like, the leader of the group, if you will.
No, the hell, Brother Tariq don't act like no leader of foundational Black Americans. He clearly, when people call into his show, Tether Class and Opposition, they call in left and right trying to frame him as, some leader. And he always said that he ain't no leader. The code is the leader. Your lineage is your leader. You know what I mean? Ain't no leader of foundational Black Americans. They do this to try to, frame Brother Tariq as the leader, so they got something to attack. And if you ask me, what 19 Keys is doing now is straight up Fed talk, because Brother Tariq Nasheed always clearly says he ain't no leader. You know what I mean? And the one thing I give Brother Tariq kudos for is, codifying the lineage, and getting us to, come on code and, do away with all of this mindset, because for a while we thought just because people were melanated that they were automatically on code with us. I know I thought that way too. I start listening to Brother Tariq Nasheed a little bit more. He put me up on game in that regard. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna let anybody try to frame our brother as a leader, this, that, and the other. Because our brother always clearly says he ain't no leader. And they just framed him as a leader to try to go at him and target him. And what 19 Keys is doing is Fed talk. But Brother Tariq, got us to see that, just because somebody got melanin in our skin, that don't mean they got our best interest in mind. The people of your lineage, more often than not, they're going to have a camaraderie with you because y'all got the same, situations. And for the most part, y'all come from the same circumstances, and, you got that same bloodline in you, to where, though, you're used to standing on business and fighting racism, injustice, and oppression. But let's continue.
And then there is the way that they treat and talk about Africans. So there's
that narrative again that we treat Africans bad, you know what I mean? And we got a right for calling out the Tether Class. They coming over here to our homeland, undermining us, calling for threats be done to our lineage, and damn that.
Very demeaning, right? They talk about delineation, right? Which is a separate.
That's what it is that he mad that we delineated, you know what I mean? Because it's slowing up a bag for him. Because I seen to where, though, I think he got some business dealings over there on the continent, 19 Keys, because he be going over there, you know what I mean?
Separation and saying that, look, we are Black Americans, we are not associated with other groups, and we don't want to be grouped and classed in as well. We are from America, right? We have our rights in America, and we're going to continue to make strides and progress here in this land, which is not a foreign concept, right? When there were schemes to push the Black people in America towards Liberia, right, by the oppressors, Frederick Douglass said something similar to that as well, right? And then there's also been African descendants of slaves, the ADOs, right? Then, of course, the perpetuator and the popularizer of the term African American just died, Jesse Jackson. Then you have the being called Black people, or by Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said Asiatic Black men. Then you have the Moors, who say that we are legally Moors and we're not claiming our nationality, and more of a ethnicity and belief-based status, if you will. And then, there's a lot of truth to a lot of the.
Yeah, family, I just wanted to bring that to the attention. This dude, 19 Keys, is an op, and he's talking Fed talk from, saying that Brother Tariq, moves in a way where he's a central head leader of a lineage. You can't be no leader of no lineage. And Brother Tariq Nasheed always clearly says he ain't the leader of the lineage, the code is the leader. So, this is just framed in a way to try to, put a target on Brother Tariq Nasheed back, and damn that. You know what I mean? 19 Keys is a op who's mad and frustrated that this delineation movement is whooping all kind of ass and getting opposition and Tethers about it to paint. So, yeah, I don't rock with this dude like that. You know what I mean? Because he's clearly an op. But moving right along. And if you're new to the channel, family, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. But we're going to move into Earn Your Leisure, because all of these guys is clicked in with one another. I want to show you these guys ain't for no reparations. Just a second, family. Now this dude right here, family, he's clicked in with earn your leisure and all of that, and he ain't for FBA lineage based reparations. He said it's going to bankrupt the economy. The sun's going to fall out of the sky. People just come up with all of these uh, outlandish theories when it comes to foundational Black Americans getting our justice claim. The sun's going to drop and all the stars going to fall out of the sky. The river's going to dry up. Oceans is going to dry up if FBAs get our lineage based justice in the form of cash reparations. And damn that. All of these folks is clicked in with one another, and you could bet your last damn dollar that if you clicked in with, so many people and y'all hanging and rocking with each other on certain levels, to a certain degree, y'all share the same mindset and ideology, because 19 Keys, he got to hold some of this kind of disposition, if he rocking with these people in all actuality, but fair use.
More people ask about reparations.
And this dude is on an Opps channel right here too, Mav Hoffa, and he was just on ABC News talking about financial stuff. And I seen where though Earn Your Leisure, 19 Keys in them, they did an interview with the Kennedy guy. I don't know if his name is Robert Kennedy, but he's a relation to John F. Kennedy, and they was talking about reparations, and Kennedy was like, he don't believe it'll happen. And why are people so willing to go, meet with Earn Your Leisure, 19 Keys and those cats about reparations when Brother Tariq Nasheed, and Brother Tariq Nasheed is grassroots, and he was asking them, anybody, the right or the left wing, and come, before the presidential election last year to come and sit and, discuss some tangibles. Somebody got a tangible plan for foundational Black Americans, the right or the left wing. No one was willing to do so, so you clearly know these people ain't grassroots if, they got political parties going to meet with them and discuss reparations, because they only going to go discuss stuff with, people who got melanin in their skin if they know that they ain't really going to give no pushback when they say, talk about reparations. When they say, reparations ain't going to happen, they want somebody that, is going to go along with the program. So, it ain't, these people ain't grassroots, because if they was, grassroots, they would have gave pushback and resistance to it. And furthermore, if they was grassroots, political parties wouldn't even come meet with them, because political parties is afraid to, meet with the Black grassroots. Why wouldn't they come, when Brother Tariq Nasheed made the offer, the right or the left wing, come meet with me at the Hidden History Museum to discuss reparations, something tangible for FBAs. It fell on blank ears, deaf ears. No one was willing to, come and, even talk about reparations. So it clearly shows you these guys ain't grassroots, but let's get into it. Fair use.
It's like, it's good in theory. If reparations were given to everyone who should be in America, it would bankrupt the world.
It'll bankrupt the whole world. You hear that? And this guy was on Earn Your Leisure. The sun and the moon gonna fall out of the sky. The ocean gonna dry up if FBAs get their lineage justice. This guy is a selfish cat, and I'm questioning this guy's lineage, because a lot of FBAs ain't going to be opposed to reparations. If that's your lineage, for the most part, you won't really be in opposition to that. You know what I mean? Unless you just a selfish buck dancing coon, one or the other. You know what I mean? Either that, or you got to be a selfish buck dancing coon to where though you're only worried about I and not the collective we. You know what I mean? Damn that. We gonna get our lineage based justice, and I don't give a damn what anyone or anybody got to say about it, because we ain't gonna let our foot off the gas pedal.
7 trillion. We couldn't fucking withstand COVID for 4 months. You think JP Morgan, really?
And he's on Mav Hoffa talking about this. Mav Hoffa is a tether from the Caribbean, and Mav Hoffa was co-signing, Fat Ho when he got on there and called us bums, foundational Black Americans, and, came out the lineage, So, yeah, Fat Ho was on Mav Hoffa show. And this, cat is in opposition, too. He ain't for no lineage-based reparations. And he clearly sitting up there, talking on an Opps platform, which is Mav Hoffa, who ain't nothing more than a tether. But let's continue.
Be clear, Bank of America could afford to deposit all that money to us, and the stimulus checks fucked us up. No.
And all of them banks, Bank of America, a lot of them, foundations and businesses were complicit in slavery as well. So slavery, is slavery, they was complicit in it. And we're going to get our justice claim in the form of cash reparations, because all of them damn companies was complicit in it as well. But moving right along, I want to stay on this Earn Your Leisure stuff. Because all of these guys is clicked in, like I said, family. Let me find the next video. Here go this cat again, you know, on Earn Your Leisure. Fair use.
Ukraine, I won't tap into. I had these conversations with multiple people who worked at banks. Goldman, JP Morgan, Guggenheim, State. So there's no one that will even state a straight answer. So if what is owed, and for the companies that exist or rebranded or became another company, if all of them had to pay what was owed, it would be 30.
We got to keep getting these individuals out the paint, you know, that's getting up here, you know, speaking that reparations going, you know, bankrupt the economy, you know, this, that, and the other, the sun going to fall from the sky. These people just, you know, put out here to ensure that we don't get our justice claim in the form of cash reparations. They shouldn't even be speaking on it. We got to make sure that on the grassroots level, we work to knock these oppositions, you know, that we got to our lineage-based justice claim. We got to get them out the way. We got to run right over them, you know?
$37.2 trillion that is owed to us in reparations. The world GDP is $108.3 trillion. For those of you who don't know, America is on a house of cards. We're at the high.
I don't give a damn, you know, they don't got no, you know, the sun ain't going to fall from the sky when they giving, you know, reparations to the Japanese, you know, the Chinese, the economy ain't going bankrupt when they looking out for the red Native Americans. Why is it, you know, when it comes to foundational Black Americans getting our justice claim, you know, something that's rightfully owed, you know, a debt that's owed to us, is all of this negative stuff going to happen? You know what I mean? So these people are, you know, opposition, you know, they paid opposition, you know what I mean?
Highest debt ever. Now, I get it. They give money to Ukraine. I won't tap into why. Go look why. We'll give money to other countries, and all that's true. But I've told you guys since the beginning that I did this show, I did Market Mondays, that no financial institution, crypto included, is ever going to look out for us first. I don't know what was so controversial about that.
Well, I think
we're going to get that. We're going to get our justice claim in the form of reparations. If we had the same mindset that this sellout got, I don't know if he's of the lineage or not, but I'm getting Tether vibes off of him. If we had the mindset that we ain't going to get reparations, so let's just give up. That's essentially what he's saying. We ain't going to get reparations, so let's just give up. And if we had that kind of mindset of a defeatist mindset, our ancestors would have never got out of slavery, you know, and never would have fought you know, white supremacy, you know, a system of racism, white supremacy with resistance. You know, damn that. We ain't just going to, you know, sit around and lay docile and dormant. We must be proactive and demand things to get out here and really stand on business.
It's something that, why does it have to be all or nothing, right? So it's like, okay, if why does it have to be $32 trillion? That's the part, that's the only part.
Because they took resources out of our ancestors when they had them, you know, on them plantations, had them building, you know, they generated wealth from our asses, you know, so we ain't going to accept, you know, nothing less than getting, you know, wealth in return. You know, that debt got to be paid, you know, one way or the other.
Part that I don't understand. Like,
okay, that's a great point.
Yeah, it could be less, right? Because it's like we haven't got anything. So,
and no, it can't be less than, you know, the amount that, I forget the amount, that it was something trillion. It can't be less than that because they generated wealth. You know, we built up the infrastructure, which is America. You know, we made mostly all the inventions that's over here. You know, damn that. You know, they stolen land from us, you know. So, yeah, we ain't going to accept nothing less. You know what I mean? You can't put a price tag on what our ancestors went through and the things that we still feel, you know, genetically, you know, in our DNA, you know, of having our ancestors enslaved. You know, that's ancestral trauma. So you can't put a price on that. You know, that still lies in the DNA of us FBAs, what our ancestors had to go through. So damn that. And where is this guy from that's speaking? You know, is he FBA? I don't know.
They're not going to give us anything.
But I'm just saying, I'm asking you just as a question.
Yeah.
If they said, okay, it's 32 trillion, well, we can't do 32 trillion, but, you know, we're going to do a package of $900 billion. 900 billion, not even a trillion, right? Or 500 billion.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's 500 billion is far short of
what is owed.
And we're going to get it because we got the talk of reparations in the mainstream public lexicon. We never been this focused on reparations before, because every time our people tried to stand on reparations business, you will have some fool who was most likely a tether, a buffer, to try to shame us, to knock us off of lineage-based, reparations. So yeah, right now we just laser focused on it. Nothing the white supremacists or the tether class buffers. Nobody can knock us off of our square and pivot. We demand justice in the form of cash reparations, and that's going to be had.
But who you think people are not going to accept that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. So why?
Yeah, I'm not saying that they won't accept it, but my point is, will they give it?
No. We know that they're not going to give it.
That was my only point.
I just think like
and if it was what the white supremacists wanted to do, they still wanted us in slavery and bondage. They wanted a white enclave in America. If we wouldn't have fought it with if we wouldn't have fought the system of racism, injustice, and oppression with resistance, they wanted a white enclave over here. They would have kept our people in slavery, segregated water fountains where the white people would go to one area, the black people go to another. You know what I mean? And depriving all black folks of resources and things like that. If we wouldn't have never fought the system of racism, white supremacy, they would have kept it that way. So we give a damn what the white supremacists feel or what they like, because one way or another, the U.S. government on the hook, and they're going to have to come up off that, lineage-based, reparations.
As far as, I think people, when they hear you say that is going to bankrupt the world, they're looking at it like you might be.
It's worst case scenario with these guys. Like I said, these guys is paid opposition put out here to try to derail the lineage-based momentum we making. Because leave it to them. The end of the world gonna happen when we FBAs get reparations. Damn that. The end of the world don't come when red Native Americans get theirs. The world don't end when the Japanese get theirs. And things like that. Damn that.
Making an excuse for why we're not gonna get it.
I'm gonna be real fucking clear. Nobody black was talking about investing and made people this much money from investing and helped the culture this much from what I do.
These guys are clowns, dude. You are nobody, sitting up there tooting your own horn. I can't deal with much more of that, family. I'm off of that, but yeah, moving right along. I want to talk about, we still going to stay on this earn your leisure thing, because like I told you, all of these people clicked in, earn your leisure, blue pill, Sinetta TV, known opposition to our FBA lineage. And, these people are put out here to ensure that we get not a damn thing. They don't want us designating our lineage and staying on code, delineating. And we get to give a damn if people like it or not. We delineating, that's the new norm. And we getting more done through delineating than when we was on some, trying to play as allies with all of these other people, because we were the only ones playing as allies. These other people were selfish and only had the best needs and interests of their group in mind. Even when we, used to yesteryear say black and brown unity, the Latinos gave a damn about no black and brown unity. They was about their people, but they let it go on to have us FBAs out there standing on the front line to absorb abuse and things, because they wasn't trying to fight. And damn that, we ain't on some, global kumbaya. We delineated, and that's the new norm. And let's get into it, family. Fair use.
We ain't getting nothing, and that's what a Democrat dignity for pride in a country that ain't never served them. So I don't understand how America's at its lowest, but it seems patriotism in the black community somehow is at its highest.
And what it is right here is 19 keys. It's mad and frustrated. We've delineated. We ain't calling ourselves some generic African Americans, and we picked up the soil over here in America. And we got a right to take pride in being American as foundational black Americans, because we're American. We build all of the fly things that's going on over here in America. We ain't some continental Africans, you know what I mean? And I ain't negating, whether I'm not negating the fly things my ancestors did, the contributions they made over here on American soil, and knocking the system, of slavery down, and injustice and oppression, and making a lane for me and my, people to have a better life. I ain't going to negate that. You know what I mean? I'm American. I'm a foundational black American, and that is what it is. You know what I mean? So brothers and sisters, if they want to, have the American flag, that's what it all boiled down to. They mad that we saying we American as foundational black Americans, but they trying to frame it in such a way that injustice and oppression goes on here in America. But injustice and oppression, like I always say, it goes on throughout the world. And Africa got more injustice and oppression over there and they got black leaders. You know, they got melanated buffers over there, you know, put out there by the dominant white society, you know, white supremacist society, to ensure that they don't get nothing over there in Africa. So the world is under global white supremacy, but we as foundational black Americans are the most on code black people there are on the planet. And I take pride in that, you know, in the resistance and fly things our ancestors did over here on American soil. And I'm American, you know.
This not making sense. Now when statistically we ain't getting nothing, and that's what it.
Shout out to Alpha Male. Thanks for the donation, brother. Yeah, 19 Keys is in the hidden color. That's why I said Brother Tariq got to be careful, you know, because this guy's opposition, if you ask me.
Democrats all take a lot of the blame as well, because black men ain't never had it good under Democrats as well. We're in the Democrats right now, niggas is complaining. So we not gonna act like it's been sunshine with you and it's just hell over here. We understand that it's two wings of the same bird.
Ian, any
I'm out of part. Motherfuckers got mad at me over saying we're not getting reparations. I'm not saying nothing. See you in Forbes. See you in Forbes. I'm done.
19 Keys and that Tether blue pill be doing a lot of babbling and using big words to make it seem as if they more smarter than what they really are, instead of getting to the point, you know, being clear and straightforward, and, you know, getting to, you know, the point of their discussion.
See you in Forbes.
Go happily vote and get your sticker. Go do your thing, right? Go vote for what you believe in democracy and say it's aligned with your code.
And real FBA brothers and sisters, you know, for the most part, ain't voting. You know what I mean? That's what caused Kamala Harris's tether ass to crash out, you know, because we remove support. We demand accountability, justice in the form of cash reparations be dispersed to foundational black American freedmen ASAP, or we ain't getting out here co-signing and endorsing either party. You know, who votes for it? That's insanity, just voting to be voting. We offer that kick. We ain't voting for either party unless they produce something tangible and lineage based.
Code and values. After that, immediately after that moment, right, you still have a responsibility to prepare you and your family for the future. We have a responsibility to control our communities, control our wealth, control our power, control our health, our dignity, our spiritual and moral compass, so that the trajectory of Black America
and our families.
And we have to focus on getting global allies and stop trying to box us.
We don't need global allies. That's the thing. You know, we've been carrying dead weight of people for a while, you know, and let's be honest, you know, foundational black Americans were only real resistance, you know, carrying other people, you know, fighting their battles for them, and damn that, them days is over. Other people got to hold their own nuts. And we don't need to have no global allies with other people. We need to worry about foundational black Americans first. You know, and once we get our people together, codified, and get our leg up collectively, then maybe we could worry about other people if foundational black Americans choose to do that. But we ain't obligated to do not a damn thing. If anything, people should be kissing the ground we walk on. They obligated and indebted to us for all the stuff we did, being that resistance rider class.
In one way. So right? We've never been a people that didn't focus on getting global allies, and right now
you sound like a Pan-African 19 Keys, if you ask me.
We acting like we don't need no.
Well, what allies can we have though?
When I think about allies, I think about who we can do business with, right? And where our opportunity is. Where's the arbitrage, or where the black?
We need to be doing business with other FBA brothers and sisters, establishing businesses, employing our own people, keeping that money in our communities, to where though it's locked in, we can't be pulled in a million different directions. People trying to, you know, get us off of our square and pivot through trying to pull us in different directions, to where though we put our needs and interests to the back burner and don't get our leg up. Damn that.
Black skill set and influence can be utilized in other areas, right? It's almost nowhere across the planet where that arbitrage is not higher. Number one, because we see everybody else copy it and then utilize it. When I was in Japan, everywhere I went, I heard hip hop.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, they're taking over hip hop like crazy.
Take your ass over there to China and Japan. Look at.
We know FBAs is the global culture that people try to tether on and, you know, cosplay us and, you know, steal everything we do. That ain't nothing new. He ain't saying nothing. We already know that. But we getting on code now, and we calling it out when we see it, and that's a good thing. And we delineate it, so that stops a lot of this.
Get Kanye West. He's killing it out there.
Yep.
He's flying from all over to come down and see the God, right? But when y'all doing something in Ghana, when you do something in Ghana, that's business. There's a certain
Now, if FBAs want to go to Ghana and do some business, that's on them. But they ain't obligated. We ain't obligated to do nothing. They got to get up off their ass over there in Ghana. They got more black people, They got the majority over there. You know what I mean? They got to get up off their ass and get codified and unified and take care of what they got to take care of. Hold their own nuts. You know what I mean? I'm looking out for foundational Black Americans first and foremost. If FBAs want to go over there, that's on them, but we ain't obligated to do it. And most of the times, unfortunately, when FBAs go over there, they, try to scam them, finesse them, do a bunch of nonsense to where though, they try to exploit our people and scam our people. Damn that.
Economic mindset and entrepreneurial spirit that Black people have in America that's completely different than all.
What he essentially saying, he putting a lot of filler on it and just won't get to the point. What he essentially saying is we need to go over there and do business, and damn that, we don't owe them people not a damn thing. If we owed them anything, it'd be a good old fashioned FBA ass whipping, for selling some of our people, and getting on code with the white supremacists. Because like I said, Africa was complicit in his own colonization because like Dr. Claude Anderson said, they did a number of things, they weren't on code over there. They had too many tribal beefs. They were selling our ancestors, the ones that got the lineage, that came from there. But we had an ethnogenesis. And we also know that some FBAs or Aboriginal were already on this land before Christopher Columbus. We also know that aspect, but we don't know them Tethers nothing but a good old fashioned FBA ass whooping.
All over the planet, right? We are some of the best species of human beings ever produced, right? And we show that in our...
We know foundational Black Americans is the most exceptional people that people want to copycat and emulate. You ain't saying nothing new, but delineation, stops a lot of people trying to steal from us and remix things and tell false narratives that hip hop was created 50-50 with Puerto Ricans. Delineation shows who the real creators and innovators are and gives us protection and insulation.
Our music, we show that in our movement, we show that in our influence.
Shout out to Alpha Male Pimp again. Thanks for the donation, my brother. I appreciate that.
We show that in our...
And they say the last person to appear in Tariq's Hidden Color series and started talking that Pan-Africanism nonsense was James Smalls. Now 19 Keys is doing it. Yeah, 19 Keys is a op. And I believe he's an op. You know what I mean? And he tried to frame Brother Tariq as being a leader. I didn't appreciate that. You know what I mean? He tried to say FBA is a group with a central head. That's what it appears. Damn that. Brother Tariq always said that he ain't no leader. You know what I mean? The code is the leader.
Intellect. You take that anywhere else across the planet and it's worth a lot. So we should definitely be directly working with the governments of Africa, right? They need to open up the bag. You know what I mean?
No, we don't need to work with no damn African government. You know what I mean? Brothers and sisters, if they want to go over there, FBA, that's on them, but we ain't obligated to do it. Because like I said, brothers and sisters go over there and try to get land and they could come confiscate the land. I heard something about that before. Brother Tariq Nasheed touched on it to where though you don't never really own your land over there, they could come confiscate it from you at the drop of a dime. Damn that. We ain't having one-sided coalitions where we got to do all of the building and people get to sit on their fingers and twiddle their damn thumbs. Damn that. You know what I mean? It's a new day. We demand accountability. We delineating and specifying our lineage. We don't owe anyone, especially not no damn Tethers, anything but a good old-fashioned FBA ass whooping. You know what I mean? And we're looking out for FBAs. The new thing is we looking out for FBAs first and foremost. Getting on code, and we want to set up businesses with our own people. Now if you want to do some outside business, that's on you. But the way I'm on it, I'm trying to do business with FBA brothers and sisters first and foremost. Because we got to get in-house cleaning and things done to where though we get our leg up before we could think about even helping anyone else if we want to do that. But we ain't obligated to do it.
So that you can start to create more of that tourism, and then there should be entrepreneurs who go over there and then create businesses and industry to help build that up. Africa.
And he got some dealings over there. That's why he's on this Africa kick. You know what I mean? Because he got some. I seen a video where he got some business dealings over there.
Got the youngest content.
That bag drying up on 19 Keys. You see that bag drying up for him. So, he's in opposition to delineation.
Isn't it? Right?
That's what it's about, us delineating and specifying our lineage and saying we ain't African, we American, and, being proud Americans. You know what I mean? Because we the only real true Americans as foundational Black Americans. everyone else fled. We got the global culture that has built America, through music, inventions, you name it. We done it as foundational Black Americans.
Reason why everybody else is going over there thinking about a 20, 30, 50-year plan on how they can take advantage of bringing infrastructure over there with a lot of these new technologies, right? But we already, 100+ years in with this entrepreneurism. You feel me? So we have certain skill sets and knowledges that we can go over there directly. Like, let's say 19 Keys, EYL, we decided to go over Liberia. We said we want to make Liberia hot. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to my brother Earl.
Saying the Liberian government be like, look, man, I got $5 million for y'all. Can y'all throw something over here? We go increase the image of Liberia. We show how beautiful it is.
Why is everything attention upon what we as foundational Black Americans are doing? Why don't continental Africans get their shit together, get on code, and stop doing tribal beefs to one another, to where though they the majority over there, get the resources, get on code, and do what you need to do. We FBAs don't got to do not a damn thing. We got to work and, to make sure that FBAs get our leg up first and foremost, before we even think about doing something outside the house. We got to worry about in-house, and that's how I'm on it.
We show the different destination and locations. We show how safe it can be. We talk to them about infrastructure changes. This all of a sudden becomes a thing. Like, damn, brothers is in Liberia. What's in Liberia? Man, you got these beautiful chocolate women walking by in the frame and everything. You like, damn, they in Liberia? Like, yeah, y'all come over here. You understand me? This is what Dubai does. Bring the boxers, bring the rappers over here. Y'all got all that cold.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe to my channel and page, family.
Money. Y'all got all that gold and rubies and all that oil and tech money over there. Don't act like you ain't getting no money. If Africa's want Africa better, just work with us.
So what about all right, so you brought up a point where you was like,
listen to this part, family. This is the part where they coming at our foundational Black American lineage, but they being subtle about it to not shake things up and rock the boat. They being very subliminal, but I think this was directed at the lineage.
you've never seen patriotism so high in the Black community. So there's a large percentage of like pro-Black people who have become national.
Pro-lineage, looking out for lineage first and foremost, that occurred over here on American soil. We're Americans as foundational Black Americans, and our identity was forged over here on American soil. We had an ethnogenesis. So you goddamn right we're going to big up, America, because the white supremacists don't represent what it is to be American. Neither do the Democrats or the Republicans. We as foundational Black Americans, we forced America, to represent the things that she was supposed to stand on and be about. So yeah, that's the thing that, I stand on as far as being American, what my foundational Black American ancestors did.
Nationalist, right? Almost to the point where they're supporting whiteness.
Alpha Mel said he sounds like a simp. Thanks for the donation, brother.
Nationalist and Donald Trump to a whole different level, right? It's a weird dynamic because you've seen pro-Black people actually become white supremacists and pro-American to the point.
They trying to basically call foundational Black Americans low-key white supremacists for lifting up the lineage and, representing our Americanness, and damn that. We got the right to, represent our lineage and, even fly the American flag if we want to. Our sister Grace Swisher made the flag, so I ain't negating the fly things my ancestors did, you know what I mean? Damn that. The world is under global white supremacy, even over there in Africa, but they over in Africa is under white supremacy more because they got melanated, pawns that are used by the system of racism, white supremacy to ensure the people over there get nothing. And over here, we the router class as FBAs, we work to knock the system down. So yeah, damn that.
Where they're so anti anything, they're the biggest supporters of the whole immigration movement. They're very close.
And you're damn right, FBAs are anti, white supremacy, the Tethers class, anything that's seeking to, stop our lineage momentum. We in opposition to that, and we got the right to be. The Tethers come over here, get in political office, say we don't need no reparations, call for threats and harm being done to our people on the internet. We ain't got to get out there and co-sign or endorse that. We must get pushback and resistance.
Borders, not interested in doing international trade, not interested in connecting with any outside foreign countries. That's interesting. So what's your thoughts on that?
There's no benefit to it, right? First, dignity.
and it's damn sure a benefit in delineating, staying on code, and representing our FBA lineage. We getting, more done now that we've delineated and got on code based off of lineage than, anything that, these oppositions want to put out there, because ain't no sense of a lot of people being around, if everybody ain't on code and you carrying around dead weight. So us FBAs delineating, we trimmed off a lot of that dead weight. I liken that to us going to the gym. Getting rid of all of that dead weight and that flab that was on us. Now we got tuned up. We've been doing our push-ups, pull-ups, and dips. Now we in tip-top shape and conditioning, and now we can get more done. So damn that, delineation is needed. It's self-preservation, protection, and it isolates us, to where though people can't come in and steal and do harmful things to FBA society. So I just wanted to bring that to the family, that 19 Keys as an op and, doing Fed Talk, trying to frame FBA as a group and Brother Tariq as a leader and, Earn Your Leisure ain't for FBA reparations and Blue Pill as a tether, trying to say that we MAGA and all of these folks are clicked in with one another inside Netta TV. So we just got to keep our eyes on that aspect, family. And I'm getting ready to get off of here. Thanks to all of the chat and the brother that donated, for rocking with me. And, everyone have a good weekend and stay safe. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe and be aware, family, because to be aware is to be alive. And I'm out. FBA salute. Peace.